Today, I will explain about Roki Sasaki's future challenges and Shohei Ohtani's batting, who transformed a pinch into an evolution. Whenever it is Roki Sasaki's turn to start on the mound, voices of high expectations and concern flood the entire world. On this program, we believe that Roki Sasaki will become the #1 pitcher in the world, and we have been cheering him on for a very long time. Even when he was not in top form, unable to pitch exactly as he wanted, and even when his results were poor, we never doubted him for a single moment. We have already seen plenty of his true capability during his time in NPB. For the Japanese fans who were shown his perfect game in real time, there are very few who would doubt his future leap forward. That was exactly how massive his impact was, because his transition to MLB moved in such a frantic hurry. Sasaki was not able to perform and play actively to his full satisfaction last season. In an ideal world, it would have been much better for him to challenge MLB. After fully clearing the issue of improving his pitch velocity during his NPB era, he began to use his slider heavily in NPB, which ended up dropping the speed of his greatest weapon, his fastball, and he became unable to unleash his original 100 miles per hour heat. If this problem had been completely resolved in NPB, and he had challenged MLB only after returning to a condition where he could consistently throw 100 miles per hour, I believe he would have been able to find success much earlier. That is exactly how outstanding his talent as a pitcher truly is. Last season, he thoroughly focused on improving his pitch velocity. And this season, although he suffered from severe control issues right from the opening of the year, ever since his game against the Angels in Anaheim, he has successfully adapted to the official MLB baseball, and I believe his right hand has fully adjusted to it. Once that happens, it becomes much easier for Roki Sasaki to demonstrate his true ability. For that reason, ever since the Angels game, he has treated us to a completely transformed, spectacular pitching performance. Excellent pitching outings continued one after another. But in his recent game against the White Sox, he came face to face with a challenge in a brand new phase. Until that point, he had been struggling heavily with control issues, finding it very difficult to throw strikes. He would allow runners to pile up through walks and hits by pitch, which sometimes led to heavy runs allowed. However, ever since the game against the Angels in Anaheim, he became capable of fighting aggressively inside the strike zone. Following that, he showcased marvelous pitching against the Brewers, the Phillies, and once again the Angels. Yet, against the White Sox, a completely different challenge emerged in place of his previous ones. That challenge is how to respond calmly when runners accumulate on base, and how to deliver pitches that prevent runs from scoring. When Shohei Ohtani or Yoshinobu Yamamoto find themselves with runners on base, they shift their gears up a notch to handle the situation. Roki Sasaki still has areas where his response to these situations remains unstable. Against the White Sox, that exact challenge was brought clearly to light. Sasaki himself expressed his self-reflection after that day's game, stating, "My desire to not give up any runs was too strong, and I ended up pressing too hard. From this point forward, throwing strikes will come naturally for him. However, precisely because he can throw strikes, opposing batters will be taking full, aggressive swings. The number of situations where he faces a pinch will surely increase. When facing such a pinch, how will he break through it? Roki Sasaki must learn and master the methods to escape these jams. Even in NPB, he must have experienced standing on the mound in pinch situations. But MLB is a completely different world. He needs to experience them one by one from now on, connecting his repetitions of failure and success directly into his growth. Having said that, ever since the very start of the season, Roki Sasaki has shown us his growing figure every single time he steps onto the mound. Because of this, It feels as though the criticism from the media that existed for a period of time has completely vanished. Little by little, his true nature as a monster is becoming visible. And as someone who cheers him on, I feel a sense of relief. However, because I want him to become the absolute best pitcher in the world. When looking at it from that standard, there are still many areas where he falls short. With every single mound appearance he makes. Just like sending a passionate cheer to my own son. I want to continue watching over his performance on the mound. Next is the topic of Shohei Ohtani. In his career, this year represents a massive turning point. A narrative that I shared with you during our previous broadcast. In particular, the most symbolic event of this turning point is that Shohei Ohtani fell into a prolonged batting slump, something completely unimaginable in his career up until now. I was truly worried for him. I believe that he, too, must have felt a sense of impatience or anxiety. Even while he was suffering through that extended batting slump. Whenever he took part in free batting practice, he would hit home run after home run into the stands. A situation continued where he could hit perfectly during practice but could not hit during actual games. At that time, I explained on this program that his brain fatigue was preventing him from accurately tracking the ball and capturing the perfect timing. We could easily understand that his body itself was perfectly healthy. Just by watching his active success as a pitcher since the opening of the season. There was absolutely no concern regarding physical burden or fatigue. The real question was, despite having so little physical burden or exhaustion, why in the world was he unable to hit? What Shohei Ohtani discovered and extracted from that prolonged batting slump is a batting method where he sets up in the batter's box completely devoid of unnecessary tension, allowing his mind to have plenty of room, tracking the opposing pitcher's ball with absolute precision, and making contact by unleashing a sharp, effortless swing. This means that he has successfully evolved his batting style this year. I interpret this as Shohei Ohtani adopting the style of a pure hit manufacturer, where a home run comes merely as an extension of a clean hit, rather than his previous style where a missed home run swing resulted in a base hit. To attempt the style of a hit manufacturer, a batter must meticulously track the ball thrown by the pitcher, swing exclusively at pitches that can be reliably turned into hits, and secure those hits with absolute certainty. From a certain day onward, I believe the number of line drive hits inside the batter's box has increased for him, which stands as undeniable proof that the results of this effortless, tension-free batting are showing up beautifully. By setting up without unnecessary force, he has become capable of reacting seamlessly to difficult pitches, which I think is an excellent endeavor. Furthermore, when a sweet pitch comes his way, he is still entirely capable of driving it out for a home run just as he did before. Therefore, this is a batting style where he raises his contact rate to produce a massive volume of hits, while simultaneously punishing sweet pitches into home runs. Shohei Ohtani has given birth to a brand new batting style out of a long-term batting slump, making it entirely his own. And we can now see an abundance of his original excellence as an elite hitter. Recently, the pace at which his home runs are flying out has been rising steadily. Shohei Ohtani, who transformed the pinch of his very first long-term batting slump into his own personal evolution, is truly a genius batter, a genuine unicorn. Even while we are talking about him like this, he is undoubtedly performing brilliantly out there just like he always does. That is exactly who Shohei Ohtani is. That is all for today. Thank you very much.